Welcome to another in our series of Embrace and Restore. That space that we talk emotional intelligence, that we talk restorative practices, that we talk leadership generally. It's been a hot summer so far, and I suppose it's just going to get hotter, but we're going to make it. Last episode, I spoke about new and emerging leaders. But over the past 2 weeks since our last episode, so much has happened or so much has come to my attention as it relates to artificial intelligence. Now, you know, I'm an emotional intelligence girl, but we can't ignore the others and we must embrace them. So, I'm going to spend a moment for us to talk about the foundations of artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence. I'm going to call this one Bridging Minds. And I'm calling it Bridging Minds because we're going to explore how artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence have developed over time and what that means, particularly in our schools today. And yes, we're on holidays, but it's going to get to that time. So let's journey by exploring the foundations. Let's start with artificial intelligence or AI as a field which has its roots way back in the 1950s. Yes, there was this guy, Alan Turing, famously asked, can machines think? And this was in a 1950 paper. He laid out the conceptual groundwork for AI research. By 1956, there was a particular conference that officially launched AI as an academic field. Early work, in fact, focused on symbolic AI, that is, teaching computers to reason through rules and logic, much like humans solve puzzles. But in the 1960s and 70s, expert systems emerged promising to replicate human decision making. But these early systems hit a wall. Let's call it that. They were brittle, they were unable to handle the messiness of real world data. And funding dried up. They didn't get the support of the various agencies and foundations. So it triggered a kind of drying up. So the AI went into its winter. That was the 80s and the 90s. But the winter thawed. Yep. Advances in computer power, large data sets, and algorithms have deep learning revived AI. When that happened, AI was like bang. So today, AI doesn't reason in human ways. It learns statistical patterns from massive amounts of data. And that's how systems like ChatGPT or image recognition models work. So let's turn to my baby, emotional intelligence, often abbreviated as EI. Artificial intelligence, AI. Emotional intelligence, EI. While the term emotional intelligence was coined by psychologists Peter and John in 1990, the underlying ideas are much older, much older. Ancient philosophers wrote about understanding and controlling emotions. In the 20th century, humanistic psychology and social learning theory emphasized empathy and interpersonal skills. And then along came that guy who Daniel Goldman in '95. He had this in 1995 because soon it going to be 2095. So I don't want to have a mix up when somebody listen to this in another couple of years. So Daniel Goldman's 1995 bestseller Emotional Intelligence popularized the idea that EI, emotional intelligence, was as important as IQ for success in life. In fact, he outlined that the skills like self awareness, empathy, self regulation, social skills, and motivation. He said that these are some of the skills he outlined. These ideas quickly found their way into schools, helping educators teach children how to manage feelings, how to resolve conflicts, and how to work together as a team, how to collaborate. AI and EI evolved on different tracks. One seeking to mechanize thinking, the other to deep human connection. So they're upon two different tracks. But today they intersect in important ways. As artificial intelligence, AI, becomes part of our lives, including our school spaces, our workspaces, our homes, we can't ignore the human element. Technology is only as good as the values guiding its use. So, I want for us to think about that. And we're going to explore these two histories and how they converge, and why educators must understand both. So, in my next episode and subsequent episodes, we'll discuss practical ways to adapt our teaching so that students grow up not just digitally skilled, but also emotionally wise. Why? Because if we're preparing children for a world filled with smart machines, we need to ensure they remain compassionate, ethical, and deeply, I dare say, deeply human. Thanks for joining. Look forward to seeing you on Embrace and Restore.